Hello everyone, Gubo here, and today I am going to do a little DIY to my sim rig, which is here. This is my wheel that I'm using mostly for Euro Truck Simulator and American Truck Simulator and various bus simulators. It's a Moza R5 with an RSV2 wheel that works quite fantastic. I have the pedals down there mounted to this stand. Razor Tartarus that I use for various keybinds. On this side, a small trackpad that's useful for handling menus and such without having to reach over the wheel and onto the desk, and a truck parking brake. But having to press buttons to or joysticks to handle things like ignitions and indicators isn't very immersive, so I've spent some time trying to figure out how to do a set of indicator stalks for myself, and I think I've come up with something useful. This is what I'm planning to build, or actually I have built it. This is a housing that I've designed, and I've also included a bottom plate with indentations here because beneath the wheel there is some raised edges. I've also designed some paddles like these, and I have already printed them all out. So you can see here as well as the paddles. Now I've made holes for all of the bits, parts and triggers and everything, but not for the board itself. I intend to simply hot glue it to the back here. I've already made a prototype, or actually two prototypes, and they work fine. I've tested the tolerances and space I need, so this should go without a hitch. And thus Murphy's Law introduced itself. The ignition key here slots into this bit. It's a little tight fit, but it works. And then I can screw on the cap that holds it in place here. I'm also going to use some hot glue to just keep it a little bit more steady and in place. There, that ought to do it. And the key sticks in just like it should. And hopefully there's room enough for one of these push buttons that I've bought. These are actually for some kind of arcade machine. I just click it in place. Come on. And it's a little bit tight, but that can be handled by just scraping out a little bit of this plastic here. Just give me a second and I'll do that. Okay, I managed to find my deburr tool. This is a really handy small tool that's useful for scraping and cleaning edges of 3D prints. So just taking off a few millimeters, or maybe not even 1 millimeter, will probably let this work as intended. And now it's clicking like it should. Adding this, oh sorry, Adding the right indicator here should be a tight fit. I'm using these three-way levers or switches, toggle switches. Just need to take off the cap. And it should fit in here, just barely. Let's see if I can't squeeze it in. Doesn't really matter which part is up or down. And here we go. Now I need to place this on top and tighten it. That did the trick. This is a really handy tool, and you can usually get it for about $10 to $15 on one of those AliExpress, Temu or whatever. And nothing's unsightly there. Now I just place on this little cap to make it look prettier. Okay, let's go to the other side and do this one. This should be much easier to insert. Come on, there we go. There's a lot more room on this side. And tighten it. And there we go. Now, these are rocker switches that are supposed to go in through these two holes here, and they should be push fit. Let's just see if I manage to do that right. And almost, very much almost, yeah, just half a millimeter shy. Get out. There's a tab I need to press down to get it out again. There we go. And if I just scrape off just a tiny amount here, which I probably should do for the other as well. And since there's a small lip here that goes around covering the hole, it shouldn't be visible at all what I just did. And click in place. Then there's the second of these rocker switches. Slips in just fine. And finally, the last push button here. Okay, perhaps I took away a little too much, but that's no big deal. I will use some hot glue to keep them all in place once I've verified that everything is working as intended. Which we are going to do now. This board is quite simple. You just plug them in here. The simple push buttons are just that. You plug it into one of these. All of these other rocker buttons have 3 poles out. I've grounded both the red wires to the middle, and then the black wires are going on the outside, which means they have 2 separate wires that needs to be connected. These boards can handle 12 inputs and a joystick. And the joystick can either be used with a ribbon cable or 4 separate cables. So, okay, this is for the ignition. Get in there. And now we have those 2 blocker switches on the side. Let's just add these here. And the other one is this cable. Go on, get yourself in there. Sorry if my beefy hands are blocking the sight, but it's just a small area to work with. And now we need the USB cable, this one here. In the meantime, I'm going to demonstrate these. I have made a slot here and a hole at the side, made 2 which are mirrored. They are intended to be placed onto this, squeezed in, and then I have some tiny little dowels that's supposed to be press fitted in here and into the hole here, locking it into place. But unfortunately it doesn't return by itself, but that's something I can live with. And now it looks like it's ready. So, as you can see, I've already done this with the board before, so, and it has not taken any damage. Like this, it's going to be in here. Come on, squeeze that thing. Perhaps I should attach the USB cable first, since it will be a little bit hard to get to afterwards. Come on. Okay, there we go. And now I just need to squeeze in a few drops of glue to keep that nice and tight. There we go. I'm also going to add some glue to all of these buttons here to make sure they stay in place. Okay, new glue stick. As well as to the USB cable leaving here. Okay. I may have botched up the cable management here just a tiny bit, but not irredeemably so. Come on. Let's go. That's part 1 and 2. Who doesn't love spaghetti? There we go. That should be more handy. That should do it. And then we just glue it in place. I don't know if it's needed or not, but I'm going to glue everything in place just for some extra stability and security. If I need to open it later, it will be possible to take it back out anyway, so it's no big deal. safety cables nice and tucked inside. And then it's time to attach the bottom plate. For this I've already made some pilot holes in the design, and I've made sure that they align correctly. I'm using some tiny screws. They are 12mm long, 2.5mm diameter. And the pilot hole is about 1.5mm thick, so they should bite really nice into the plastic. These are basic wood screws, by the way. Now let's see. There is the hole aligned. Oh crap. Oh well, I'll clean that up afterwards. These screws are so tiny that they are going flush with the bottom. I've made some indents, or I'm not sure what they call it, into the bottom to make sure that the head is inserted into it, that it doesn't butt out. Looks like I might have the wrong here. Yep. And there we go. A nice button box. Well, nice-ish. Let's insert those pedals. One on the right side and one on the left side. And we have these dowels that need to be pressed in. Might need a little mechanical help here. Okay, not a good idea to do it to my own finger. And on the other side. There we go. And if we move over to the sim rig, let's see. It should be able to sit just beneath here. I'm going to attach it with some double-sided tape. And these handles and buttons are accessible with little to no effort. Yeah. Okay, and here we are back in the game, ready for some demonstration of how this thing works. I've taken a small job that should play out rather quickly. I'm using the engine key here to start up my truck. Releasing the parking brake. Starting up the lights with this button here. Oh, and I've fixed these window buttons here so that you can see they go down and up and down and up. A rather frivolous little thing that I'm not going to use much, but it's nice to have. Oh, and on the right side I have activated the hazard lights. Putting my wheel into drive with this right pendulum. I've set it to drive, neutral and reverse. And we are going to pick up this I think it's a shipment of milk. Oh, turning the wrong way. That is not a good idea. And as a real truck, this or at least a bus, this wheel has a lot of turning angle. I've set up my activate and activate and trailer hook to this set. Up here I have a zoom function, and I can reset head tracking if I wish to. And I've tweaked a little bit in the settings for the pendulums here, so they will now only activate when I hold that button in. So the indicator blinks, and as soon as I return it to the neutral state, it turns off. And I usually turn off that route advisor. I prefer to use the in-game navigator here. A little bit more immersion, which is mostly why I designed and made this button box in down here in the first place. This is a wheel usually made for racing and drifting and rallying, I don't know, but I like it for trucking. I can have various windows put up using this. I can turn off that. I can open the map, which might be handy. I'm not going to use it, but I can twist this one to change my favorite radio stations. I can turn on or off head tracking with this. Sorry, paid more attention to talking than actual driving. This one is cruise control on or off, and changing how fast it goes. I use this button here to zoom in the tiny little GPS down on the dashboard, and this one is used to change the info display behind the wheel. I prefer to set it to my speed mostly. This I use for wipers up or down, and left and right is used to control the radio volume. So, oh, and open the menu. As you can see, it's quite a simple thing to just use your fingers to move this round and round. These shifter pedals beneath, I have this one set to headlights on or off, or I can simply use a short burst light horn, I think it's called, by holding this one in. On the right side I have the low one. Oh yeah, info. The low one I have set to horn, and the upper one for air horns. And if I want to, I can press them both at the same time. No, I think I suppose it's kind of rude to beep on that truck in front of me, but whatever. It's just a game. Okay, that was it. Off to the road. Let's see, where are we going? I'm going from Innsbruck over to Munich. So, just a rather short trip actually. Like about the head tracking, it makes it so much more easy to look into the mirror to see if there's traffic coming in from either side. And how I rest my hand on top of this wheel, I can easily just push my palm into the button to get a better look at signs and my little GPS. Should my tracking go awry, I can simply press that button to turn it back on track. And I know I am driving like a balloon here, but that's mainly because I'm concentrating more on talking and showing you than actual driving. actually try to drive most as naturally and normally as I can. I find it a great supplementary training to do when I'm training to learn how to drive. It's not the real thing, but it's fairly close. Advantage of using hand tracking is that you tend to see more of the landscape around you when you turn your head, rather than using the mouse to view, because then you have to take your hands away from the wheel and the other controls to actually do it. When I do have some controls mapped to my thingamajig down here, the Tartarus, but I tend not to use them as much as in other games. Mostly use it for view control. Example of when I use the zoom, just when I see something going on the GPS that I'm not that I don't see the details of. It's quite nice to zoom in to see when I should change lanes. And if you don't, this is not the standard GPS from the game. I prefer the mod that gives you something almost like the Google navigations. I think it looks much more clean. I don't like that red and yellow line that the default game comes with. It might be more normal on trucks, I do not know. I've never driven one, but it do feels better with this one. Oh, and angling the wheel like this, like I showed you, also makes it much more easy to play for longer periods. And it feels more like a real truck or a real bus, whatever you like. You can see I need to change lanes. The German words instead of the English ones. Like it feels wrong that people call it München and then someone else calls it Munich instead. gander at... Oh, we're actually quite close to the Peruvian river point. As I said, I chose a very short task for this one. See the destination on the minimap down there. Despite this being a very small job, there is a slight chance that I might actually level up, because I'm almost to the rank of, I think it's 16. Let's just zoom in a bit for that fun part. Guess I'm driving a bit too fast. I don't want the speeding tickets. I am supposed to park. Okay, not strictly necessary, but let's put her in neutral and park. And decouple. Whee! Level 17. And that's a demonstration of how this button box works. I can't say anything other than I'm really happy with the result. It works perfectly for my needs, and it was actually rather easy to make and put together. The thing that took the most time was actually designing the box itself, but that's just a trial and error, and all the things I learned from this project can be applied to make other even better results later on. So thanks for now, and have a good day, and I hope you have a nice life. Bye.